Good morning. It's about 10 to 5 on Saturday the 2nd of August. And it's another hit and run session. I'm down here tonight, or this morning, in the rough ground at Bordsey in Suffolk. I couldn't sleep. The babies had a feed. The missus said, go fishing. I had some squid in the freezer. So that is all I've got for bait. And all I've done tonight is headed down here to the rough ground at Bordsey. Very small tide. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes until high, and then I'll probably fish it 2.5 down, depending on what happens. And tonight is all or nothing. It's a small tide, and there's been a few reports of fish, but there's not a lot about. But if there's any fish about, they're going to be in here. You're talking, you could have a ray, we could have a bass, we could have a smoothhound. Like I say, very small tide though, so it's not really pushing that many fish in. However, whole squid on a pulley wig, one rod, smacked out, and let's just see what happens. Let's see if we can get a fish. Now, as you can see, we're nearly at high tide. It's around about 5:30. And to be honest with you, I think the tide is now on the turn, because that is getting a little bit rougher as it's breaking on the beach, and it's coming right over where I'm fishing. No bites as yet, but like I say, judging by that sea state, at the very least there's got to be a thornback out there. There really has. Just going to show you the rig I'm using today, or the setup. Got my 7HT Blue M4 GT, and all I'm fishing with that is pulley pennel. And on the bottom of the pulley pennel, little bit of squid. Nothing massive, just little bits of squid on the pennel, seeing what I can get. Now I've got to try and get this bait out without getting wet. See what I can do. That's not too bad. This area here fishes a lot better on the ebb. Always has done. So the next 2 hours could well produce a fish. It might not, but it could well do. If they're gonna come, they'll probably come in the next 2 hours. It's notorious, this beach. It can be dead on the flood, and as soon as that ebb starts, you get run of fish from about half an hour into the ebb to about hour and a half, 2 hours down. But we'll see. Quick little session, just out and about, like I say, see if I can get something. If they're there, they're gonna be here. They really are. But like I say, small tide, sea state's perfect. Just got to see what happens. As you can see, that water's holding up. It's turned, but the tide is holding right at the very top. Now, like I say, it's a very small tide today. However, this place is the place to be on a small tide. If it's anywhere's gonna throw up a fish, it will be here, and it could be a decent fish. There's so much food out there. Hermits, crabs, prawns, shrimps. It's really rough. Even though looking at this beach here, you'd think it's pure sand all the way out there. It goes sand down to about 30 yards. And after that, it just turns into a lunar landscape of clay. Clay troughs, lumps, little patches of sand, bits of broken World War II, blooming trank traps and stuff like that. So we'll see. Anyway, while I've got a few minutes, just getting pushed off by the tide, but we'll have a little chat. Say thank you very much to everybody who has sent me messages, who has commented and said congratulations on my newborn baby Gelafina. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's nice to know with the comments about this video as well, or the videos, that you really enjoy watching my channel. Last video, if you want to go and watch it, but that absolutely bombed. YouTube algorithms are absolutely mental. I don't know what it is. I can get 2,000 views, and the next one gets like 800 views. Soul destroying, really. You come out and you do the videos, and it's normally the ones that you do and you think, cool, that's going to be a good video. Cool, people will want to watch a 2-hour challenge, and they don't want to watch it. But there you go. If you're watching the video and you're not yet subscribed, because according to my analytics, 50% of you are not subscribed, which I think is quite a good number, to be honest with you. But if you're not subscribed, down here, I'm going to drop a QR code. Now, when that QR code comes up, if you're on the TV, pause the TV, get your camera phone, put it on camera, hold it up to the TV screen, and it will take you to my channel so you can subscribe. I'm getting wet. Costs nothing, absolutely nothing, and it just helps the channel to be seen by YouTube. Because there's so many channels out there, hundreds of sea fishing channels. I drop a video and it just disappears in the thin air. And I'm doing these for free. Like I say, no matter how far I get on YouTube, whether I end up sitting at 2,500 subs or whether I go up to maybe 5,000-6,000 subs, I'm never ever gonna make this channel into a membership channel where you have to pay. My view is, if you're doing YouTube, you do it for the fun of it. I'm not in it to be a brand. I'm not in it to make money. I'm not in it to be sponsored. In the past, I've done all that. And trust me, it is not always cracked up to be. It really, really isn't. It puts a lot of pressure on your fishing and you end up just not enjoying it. Wait, that's a big one. You just end up not enjoying your fishing because there's pressure on you to produce the goods. You're going out and you're literally thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. You know, yes, you get free tackle. Proper sponsorships, you get free tackle, which absolutely fantastic, you know. That is an absolute bonus. But it's like another job. And my fishing is my fishing. My fishing's a hobby. It's a passion. It's something that I like doing. And I make these videos mainly because in years to come, when I'm gone, my little girl can sit there and she can go on YouTube and she can watch her dad fishing. You know, that's one of the main reasons I do it. She knows when she's older, she'll know how much I love my fishing. And it'll be something, maybe memories of me in the future and years to come. So like I say, bit of a waffle, but YouTube's a funny old thing. The algorithms are bloody weird. 1 minute you can be doing great, the next minute you can't. So like I say, if you're not yet subscribed, hit subscribe. I think this tide is now on the turn. I think I was a bit premature when I said that earlier. You can always tell when the tide's on the turn because it gets rougher. That tide will start shifting direction. There will be a lot more rougher seas because if it's going one way and then it starts going the other, you've still got some flow going the other way as it's trying to go, and it pushes against itself. And you'll always know because it will get a lot rougher on the beach. But I'm going to say 2 hours. I'm going to give this 2 hours. I've got stuff to do today. Me and the missus want to go out with the babe and do some stuff. So 2 hours and I'll go home, have a shower, go out with the missus. But let's just see if we can catch something, you know. It's hit and run sessions. That's where your tides and your weather and your watercraft come in to fruition. Because you can sit there and you can look and you can literally pick a window where you can go fishing if it's 2 hours, 3 hours. That is where really it's good when you're doing your sea fishing to learn this stuff. You know, it comes with time, it comes with knowledge, but it is such a good thing to learn watercraft and your marks. I know these marks around here like the back of my hand. I've fished them for a lot of years. And like I say, I can pick areas that I know on certain tides, certain weather conditions will fish. Take this for example, I'll go through it again today. Rough ground, a lot of food in the water, small tide. Fish that are in the area will want food. With the tide, with a small tide, fish will normally push a little bit further offshore and it won't be as good. But if you've got a lot of food in the area, fish will hang around. And this is the one. And with the northwesterly we got today, and a fairly small tide, in the winter, rough down here is good. Say September, October down here, rough, smashing about, decent tide for bass, and you end up on the cliffs. And maybe a codling, but that's just out there. That's like mega, maybe one day it'll happen, who knows. But in the summer, flat calm, small tides, it's the place to be. Anyway, that's my waffle over. You've probably turned this video off by now if I've been waffling this long. But 2 hours. See if we can get a ray. I think it's going to be a ray if it's anything today. We'll see. And just like that, the ebb started, and I've just had my first proper bite. That was a nice solid pull down, a couple of times, slowly come back. Not going to say what it looked like, because you never know, but it did look like a type of bite from a certain type of fish that I was expecting to see tonight. There we go again. I'm going to sit on that. You can tell that's not a bass, because if that was it, well, say you can tell, you can't really tell, but I'd say that's not a bass, because a bass would be smacking it round. That is slow, positive pulls. But I'm not going to hit it because it's a small tide. Small tide means there's not much flow in the sea. So if there's not much flow in the sea, the fish will not hook themselves. When you've got a big tide, that bait is flapping about in the water. Those fish are in that tide flow. They grab the bait, they come past, down tide, smack, the hook's in their mouth. Small tides, not really. Bugger. Small tides, you're not really going to hook them like that. So you got to sit on it and wait until you get something positive. Now I'm going to sit and stand here and see if that goes anymore. I've had a couple of indications now, nothing super positive, apart from the first couple of pulls, but there is something out there and there is something feeding. This water's still coming right. Now that is not the water on my tripod. I know that for a fact. Because if that was on the tripod, the whole rod would be moving. That is just the tip. There's definitely something there. One more indication, and I'm gonna reel it in. Something a bit more positive. Out of the way of that water. Come on. As soon as that ebb started, don't worry, that water's not touching my reel. My reel's sitting above the flow. That tide is still hammering in. Come on, one more indication. Because I've had such a gap between my indications, the first one and the second one, might mean something is sitting on it. But I just need one more. Whether it's a little tiny tremble or a pull round. Come, there we go. There's something there. There's definitely something there. He says. There might be something there. Some weight. Question is it weed or is it a fish? That could actually be weed. No, I think there's a fish. See something on the surface of the water. Question is, what is it? Yeah, there's definitely a fish. Well, weren't I wrong? That's a bass. And there was me saying it wasn't a bass. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's get this weed off the top of the tip. That's something I don't really want. There's a lot of weed coming through. Yeah, like I say, that weren't bass. Given a small bite. Now the reason that was given a small bite is because it's a small tide. No. Honestly, wouldn't have thought that was a bass. There we go. Fish number one, literally as that ebb has come on, fish should come on the feed. Like I say, the ebb here always produces. Right, get this one back, I'm going to get another bait out. Another squid bait going out. Now this could do one of two things today. I could try and fish in close, but I don't really want to fish in close because I want to try and get a ray. And I think if there's rays here, they're going to be out at distance today. But this water is bloody holding up. It never normally does this on a small tide. That is really crashing in. Let's see if I can get this out. Ah. Ah. One. Ooh. Deck that. Ah. Oh. This water is really holding up. Don't normally do this. Oh, I just want to get a bloody bait out. There's a proper little lump rolling in. Now, is that because of the northerly in the sea? Who knows? Right, I don't care. I'm going to get wet feet. That water is really holding up, and I'm getting wet feet trying to get this bait out, but I actually don't care. Lost my thummy. Well, as you can see, probably from the water that's around me, this tide is holding right up, and there's a lot of weed coming through. A lot of weed. Now, the reason I think this tide is holding up, as I touched on earlier, is because there's a little bit of northerly in the wind. When you've got northerly in the wind, it pushes down from up the coast, north. And what that'll do is, that'll make the water hold closer in. So basically like pressure pushing down on the water, holding it in. That's got no fish on it. Like I say, there is some weed coming through, but it's not mayweed. It's just cabbagey type stuff, but it's just catching on the lead knot, which isn't great. But like I say, conditions are still perfect. And I've got about an hour and a half. So I'll get another bait on, and I'll cast this out and see what we can get. Ta-da! Another one. Managed to find a smaller squid in my pack, so I've put that on whole. Try and see. At least the water's residing a little bit, which is always good. I'm already wet, so it don't matter. Come down here a bit. Take that up a little tiny bit. One, two. Bosh! Get out there. Oh, Mr. Raymond, where are ya? One more fish would do nicely. I still think there's a chance of a ray. Hounds at the minute, we never had them hit our coast this year. Well, they haven't hit our coast properly for about 2 or 3 years now. Get the occasional 1 or 2. No big hits at all. You just see people picking them up sporadically here and there. And now it's August. Time's really gone for the hounds, if you ask me. You never know, there could be a straggler. Essex produced really well for a little while. That's died off now. So like I say, if anything, for a decent fish, it's going to be a ray. The conditions are spot on. I don't know how many times I said it in this video. Those conditions are absolutely perfect. It's just a case of whether they're there or not. Well, that ebb, out at distance, has produced a massive amount of weed. And when I say a massive amount, I've just reeled in a clump. I should have got it on camera, really. Probably about 10 pound in weight of weed. It took me absolutely ages to bring it in. It's now everywhere down here. Like I say, not mayrot. It is the stringy cabbagey type stuff. So, to combat that out, rather than going out at distance, I'm going to flick this one out about 40 yards. Just beyond that first roller. Because there's more tide run out at distance, which means, let me just wind them back, which means the weed will be running through a lot better. I'm just going to literally drop that there. See if there's any fish running in close. Because I don't really want to combat that weed all blooming session. That is absolutely minging. Well, it happens. You get that every now and then. But like I say, the main thing to do when that does come through, no, that's still pulling round. When that weed starts hammering through, just drop it in close. See if you can combat it like that, because I can't fish out at distance when it's like that, because that is just rolling through. I thought I had a fish on because it was bouncing round. Tip was going round, coming back. And the more I watched it, I thought, nah, there's something different that. There was no positive bites or anything like that. And when I lifted into it, I'm talking a clump like that all around my lead knot. If it happens again, I'll get a picture or I'll get a bit of film for you. But got an hour left. You never know. In close could produce something decent. There might be a bass running through. You might even have a ray in close. Even fishing in close, that weed is still not, it's not as bad as it is at a distance, but that's what I've got around my leader knot. And there is a load of weed around my blooming lead and hook as well. Oh no. Weren't expecting this tonight. Yeah. This ebb is absolutely dying because of the weed. I was hoping that give it an hour, hour and a half down, which it is now, it might have vanished. And that, come on, oopsie daisy, and that is what I've got around the top of my rig. That is absolutely shocking. Not as much as at a distance. There's still a lot of weed, which is going to make the fishing very difficult. I'm going to give it another 45 minutes. I'm going to put this one back out at distance, see what it's like out there, because the fish, if they're here, they're going to be out there. There's no two ways about that. If they're here, they're going to be where I can smack it. I've got a trawler working further offshore. I reckon he's beam trawling for sole. And weirdly enough, he's working in amongst where the ship was recently that was doing all the electric cables. There's some like buoys out there where the cable boat was working, so they put some cables in for Sizewell Sea, which have come into Boardsey, and he's working the ground over that. So it's obviously new ground, and that's why he's working it. I reckon he's after sole or bass. Right, get this bait on. and we'll cast it out. 45 minutes, see if this weed eases up. So, I'm going to put this out a distance. That wind has swung. This wind has now got a bit of southerly in it. That's pushing it in. But I'm going to give this a little whack out, see how this goes, see what the weed's like out there, because, like I say, if there is any fish, they're going to be out there. Plain and simple. 1, 2, 3. It's got to be worth a try, and it's all or nothing now. If that rod tip keeps getting pulled around, then we know that tide is still pushing and it's pulling that round in the weed. I'm hoping that the tide run's dropping off. With that, the weed is going to drop down in the water and not be so prevalent on the bait and rigs. But we'll see. 45 minutes. See if I can get another fish. If not, the weed has killed the session. As you can see, that rod tip has a bend in it, which to me says there's a lot of weed out there. See what happens. Yeah, there's some weight there, which means there's weed. Not as bad as what it was though. Well, it doesn't feel like it. You can see some weed up the line. I'll probably have one more cast and then we'll call it a day. Because that weed is all up the line. All this video is going to be is me with one bass and casting out and reeling in. Lovely. That's going to make you want to subscribe and up. Oh dear. It happens. I haven't been weeded out for a long time. That's not as bad as it was, but it's still quite bad. All around the top of the lead knot. None round the bait though. That is all around the lead knot. So there is still some weed there, but I think the tide's dropping off. So if we give it one more cast, give it 15 minutes, see what happens on this last cast. If the weed's dropping off, we might have a chance. Last cast, whole squid. Bang this out as far as I can and see if we can beat the weed on this last cast. I'm pretty certain there's fish out there. Pretty certain. It's just a case of trying to get through them. And find some fish through that weed. Is it gonna happen? Last cast, last chance. Otherwise, it's just literally me casting out and reeling in with one little bass. Let's see if we can get one more fish. I've not had any more fish. So this vlog is me casting in, casting out, getting weeded out, and catching one little bass. Which isn't the greatest, I know, but it's the reality of fishing on the Suffolk coast. Like I say, small tide as well. I was hedging my bets that this would be the place. Obviously not. Should have gone to Southwold or Cove Hive fishing for sole. But you got to remember as well, I can't go too far from home at the minute. I want to be within 25 minutes, half an hour maximum, in case something happens at home with my little girl, because I want to be able to get in the car and be home as quick as anything. So I can't really do any road trips. Can't really travel too far out of the county because she takes priority at the end of the day. More weed. There we go. Session over. Apologies, it wasn't fish filled. Apologies, it wasn't action packed. But there you go. Realities of fishing is what it is. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. You know the rules. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you by the water very soon.